Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast episode 442. I'm your host, John Van Derzen, and it's a lonely Valentine's Day for me. I don't have my partner in crime. You messaged earlier, Terry Miller, my all-time Valentine. My sweet Valentine. Anyway, messaged earlier today and said that he has had a rough travel. He's dealing with some personal issues. Nothing you need to worry about. They're fine. He'll be, just some stupid crap with bank accounts and all this other stuff that he's working on. And traveling in general, he was on like 3 different flights in the last 19 hours. And so he messaged me a little bit earlier today and said, gonna have to tap out. Then he's got a 6 a.m. flight to Tucson. Then I reached out to another guest, and she was like, I would love to join, but it's Valentine's Day, and she has someone that loves her. But she'll join us at another time. I won't spoil it right now. And then I had another guest host that had lined up, and I was going to reach out to Dust, but you know what? It's Valentine's Day. We're going to let him. I think he's got a significant other. Fairly certain he does. We're going to let people be people, and we're going to do this one solo tonight. So happy Valentine's Day. I'm sorry if you're joining us live. That means you don't have a Valentine, or your Valentine's is already over. It's like 9 o'clock here in Central Time. Maybe if you're an East Coaster. I don't know. I know everyone's got to work tomorrow. It's not a real holiday. It's one of those Hallmark holidays. But I'm here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the disc golf world. We had some big news this week that we're going to get to momentarily. So Spock Heiser says we need some mood lighting. I could set some mood lighting. Give me a second here. Let's do this. Wonder if I have it in here. So right now I've got these lights on top. Let's change them to go like that. Did you notice anything different there or not? I don't know if you could. I turned my internal lights pink here, but it's obviously going to be hard to tell. Watch this. Ooh, there we go. A little mood lighting, a little pink action here. That's not too bad, actually. It's a little dark, but so. Anyway, it's Valentine's Day. As I said, my wife, particularly, who's my Valentine, had minor outpatient surgery today for something. She had some blockage up in her nasal passages. I'm sure she loves the fact that I'm telling everybody. But so she's on some drugs and laying on the couch right now, just watching TV where she's been the last 6 hours, basically. And so hopefully at this point, then everything will be hunky-dory with her, and she'll get all that blockage cleared, and a deviated septum as well, slightly, they said. I don't know, but she got it all taken care of today. What better Valentine's Day than that, So, it's kind of a thing. But like I said, big news this week. DGPT made some announcements. They talked about some new live stuff. We had Gannon Burr, probably the biggest announcement, announced that he's leaving Prodigy. There were some events going on this weekend. I signed up for an event. Today I registered for an event. So, go back to the lights. Woo, right. The dark was kind of nice, actually. Yeah, I signed up for an event in MA 40. So, the Standing Rock's open. We'll see how that goes. Sometime in late April or May, something like that. So, races, we got to discuss the changes to the DGN media plan. Yeah, I think we will. I don't know what changes, but there's definitely some discussions, some updates. We'll talk about that first, because that's kind of the, if it's something that's in my wheelhouse, it's media stuff. So, first and foremost, the DGPT announced that they're going to be doing full coverage of all Silver Series events. So the Silver, thank you, Brian Kilgore, for the super chat. $10 super chat. He's my Valentine. You're my current Valentine, Brian. Full coverage of the Silver Series. All 3 rounds will be behind the DGN network paywall. So you'll have to be a DGN subscriber in order to redeem that, in order to watch that. The other big note, obviously, on top of the European coverage that we're going to be getting, we knew about that. But the big change is that we're no longer getting final round coverage for free. It's not going to be on YouTube. It's going to be part of your paywall subscription. Instead, you're going to be getting day 1. So Thursday will be free on YouTube and not Sunday. Now, what does that mean? It means just what I said. But what does it mean for everybody out there? I mean, the kind of what a lot of people were saying is that you don't get to freeload anymore, so to speak. So you don't get to watch the best content immediately available for free. And that model both models to me make sense. Free final day makes sense. Paid final day makes sense to me as well. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Now, a lot of people say this could be a very big boon for Jomez. I'm sure they're loving this. And you're right. It very well could be. If people aren't sold on the live product by now, they're probably not ever going to be, so they're probably going to be Jomez fans anyway. But it could drive some people that maybe were casual watchers. A lot of people really like the YouTube interface as opposed to the Vimeo interface that everybody gets. So I was one of those people. I watched on YouTube final day as opposed to DGN because it was easier to watch on my phone. I could Chromecast it. I could rewind, pause. I never had to worry about anything. Depending on how you're watching that Vimeo one, on what platform, it can get a little squirrely. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think on the phone I could rewind it, but on my Roku I couldn't. Something like that. I forget. Unless I'm there sitting there trying to do it, I honestly don't remember. But, and I haven't been involved in any of the conversations as to why they made these changes. That's not exactly my purview in this organization. You know, I'm a contractor. I work on the live broadcast, but not necessarily the decisions behind the live broadcast. What I think this is, personally, and again, I haven't spoken to anybody on this, partly, is that the final day is the most valuable day. So it was easier to sell against sponsors. You know, we could sell to Barbasol. Hey, look, we're going to get 40,000 people watching. But the one thing you can't do, you can't go really live on any other platform. So say, for instance, the plan, which I know it will be in the long run, is to get this on ESPN Plus, ESPN 2 if we're lucky. We're not getting live on ESPN proper anytime soon. You basically can't probably sell that. Just say, hey, we're going to go live on your platform, but we're also going to go live on YouTube. And so that makes selling your event, that final day, extremely difficult outside of your own ecosystem, outside the DGN Disc Golf Network subscription. So I think that probably has a big thing to do with it. They're looking forward. Because at some point, you have to, quote unquote, cut the cord. You have to be able to have that in your back pocket. So if something like this were to come up this year, if at the end of the year they say, hey, guess what, Maple Hill, we're going live to ESPN Plus. They're going to want some sort of mostly exclusive rights to that. Now, they probably don't care as much if it's behind if it's on ESPN Plus and it's behind your paywall, but they're not going to have it if it's on YouTube. And that might not happen this year, but I think the Disc Golf Network is really looking to just get people in this habit. Guess what? We want access to this stuff when we want it. Because if halfway through the season, if things were the way they were, and suddenly they say, hey guys, guess what? We're going to put this out on ESPN 2. or ESPN Plus or CBS Sports or CBS Interactive. Pick a streaming platform. I don't care. I just use ESPN because that's the one everybody knows. But there's a half dozen of them that it could go on. And then you suddenly tell people, yeah, but in order to do that, we need to not give it to you for free like we promised. Then they look like, asshats. And people will get all up in arms. Like, oh, you're taking away for this. I don't even have this streaming platform. What? I'm not going to get a chance to watch now. Blah, 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 blah. It's easier to do it now as a blanket. To tell everybody, hey, this is how it's going to be from here on out. The downside of that, obviously, is some of the sponsorship sales. Some of those final days, all the final days are the biggest day of the event, hands down. So I'm wondering if it maybe is a little bit tougher of a sell for a Barbasol, Johnsonville, some of your other ones when you say, yeah, you were getting 40,000 concurrent plus, we'll say within 2 weeks, it was probably hitting 150,000 total views. And then you also probably got a spot on Jomez as a commercial, all that stuff. Well, now those numbers are going to look a lot smaller because your concurrent on DGN, I guarantee you, isn't going to be what it is on YouTube. If they have, let's just say, I know last I heard it was 40,000 subscribers. I think it dipped below that right now, but it does. It's off season. It's going to dip and it's going to come back up. I wouldn't be shocked if they're at 45 to 47 by Waco or wherever they're going to be. If they ended the year at 40, that's kind of my guess. I don't know. Again, I haven't looked at those. I haven't looked at the numbers. It'd take too long for me to dig them up right now. But you're not going to get every one of those watchers. You're just not. You are going to get a fraction of those. Some people would just turn it on YouTube and put it on in the background and let it play. That's what I would do. Even in the summer, I would just turn it on and I'd go out and mow my lawn. I'd go out and do some running around. It would just literally be playing in my house. So when I came back in, I could kind of sit down right away without having to pull up YouTube or anything like that. You're not getting that anymore. So I wouldn't be shocked if this year you see a drastic dip in the number of live viewers. And I think they're ready for that. I hope they are, at least. So, but we'll see. I mean, if ultimately you see a big jump in the number of yearly, annual, or monthly subscribers, but you see a dip in the number of views, I mean, potato? I guess it depends on what you're, most of I think the sponsors that pay the Disc Golf Pro Tour pay at a yearly rate, just a yearly clip. Hey, you get, whatever that number Sean Jack works with. Here's $10,000 and you get the lower thirds for all season. I don't know what the number is, making that up. But I've heard $10,000 for some things, so I'm just going to use that for everything. I know there are some that pay way more, some that pay less. All depends on what you want to get. If you're interested in advertising with the Pro Tour, reach out to me, and then I'll turn around and send you to Sean Jack. But maybe I'll get a cut if you're a new sponsor. So, I don't know, get $7 in my pocket or something. Who knows? So we're going to see what exactly happens, how they react. Again, I think this is good in the long run. This was bound to happen at some point. We all knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. I kind of feel like that other shoe is looking to drop with post-production as well. Not that it's going away. I truly don't believe post-production will ever go away. But I think at some point, it's going to get pulled behind the curtain. And I think we talked about this with Dust as far as what I would like to see the Pro Tour do for a media plan would be live. And then within an hour or two, a condensed quick cut, smash cut as we called it. And then post-production, very high quality Jomez style, Gatekeeper, GK Pro style post-production come out on Mondays. Start Monday through, or maybe Sunday's your first day or something, but Monday through Tuesday or Wednesday. and maybe that goes behind the Disc Golf Network, then literally you've got people watching your network throughout the entire week. That's what I would like to see if it's going to go that way. I'm fine with how it is now, but if they end up taking that stuff away, that's the route I want to go. So, all right, we talked about media stuff. That's kind of the. Oh no, that's not it. I was going to spoil it. The Disc Golf Pro Tour also announced some new coverage. Actually, it's kind of funny. They are going to have a wraparound show, so to speak. They're going to have a 30-minute pregame show, a halftime show, and a postgame show. And I know that it's been announced. I think Grant Zellner is going to be on it a little bit. I don't believe anybody has a permanent job, so it's going to be kind of like the commentators where they maybe filter in a little bit here and there. I think you're going to kind of see some people changing seats a little bit just to the first year for this, so we're going to figure out who's comfortable doing this. But Liz Lopez, for those of you that don't know Liz Lopez, she was an FPO golfer. She holds I think right now, the distinction of most Elite Series podiums without a win. So it's unfortunate, but I believe I did read that somewhere. Liz is a good friend of mine and Terry's. She's been on the tour for years. She toured with EMAC for a while. Way back, the Fellberg years and that stuff. Like, Liz was kind of that, second tier FPO player. Again, tons of podiums, couldn't ever quite close it. She never quite had the Paige Pierce, Katrina Allen skills. And then she ended up getting hurt. I think she like tore a rotator cuff or something like that, had some back surgery. It just kind of ended up falling, quote unquote, out of competition for a while. Stepped away from the sport. I think she was working down with, I think she works with Under Armour now. That might be still where she works, last I heard. But anyway, she's moved out to Portland with her husband. And now at this point, I think she's going to be stepping in and doing some of the Pro Tour wraparound show. So I'm really excited for that. I want to see what, I saw a real brief clip of the setup that they have that we're going to see, and it could look pretty cool depending on how it works out. So that's kind of a new thing, which is good. I think it's something that the Pro Tour really needed. And this is a perfect time because you don't want to have a show like this show up before your live product is a quality live product. And I believe we're at a point where everyone can mostly agree that we have a quality live product. We're covering 3 to 4 cards any given round, maybe even 5, depending on what happens. And bouncing around, barely any quote-unquote fairway walking, as everyone used to complain about. But now we've got this great product. We need to put the ice cream on top of the cake. Do people still do that? The sprinkles, what else do people put on top of things? Cherry on top of the malt. Not a shake. Got to go malt. Malts are better. I'll drink either one. Someone hands me one. Malts are the best. So we've got this extra stuff going before, in the middle, and after. I'll be curious how they do that in the middle, because there are times that our guys do not have time to wrap around. It's less than a half-hour turn time on some of these bigger events like Ledgestone, where you might be at different courses, but one of the courses is a 5-hour plus course or something along those lines. So there might be some time that they actually are doing the halftime show while we're getting ready to do our regular show. They might be even running concurrently at times. Most of the time we have a good amount of distance between us. So probably, 2 hours. But there are times, delays. We run into like a delay, or you run into, as everyone loves in the control room, overtime, extra holes. That pushes everything back. So hopefully nobody has any business. And I didn't read if that was going to be every single day or if that's just final day coverage. I don't know if anyone on the board can let me know if that was supposed to be for every day or just final round. Ray says it should be called the DGPT Reach Around Show. I don't think they're going to go with that. We'll put it in. I think they already have a name picked out, but we'll put that in the hat. No ideas are bad ideas. You know, just you'd be like Chuck Kennedy and just throw 1,000 things at the wall, and if one or two stick, that's great. That's kind of how I feel. Chuck's awesome. Chuck's one of the smartest guys in disc golf. A lot of crazy ideas sometimes, but sometimes those crazy ideas stick, like the rating system. So, what else do we have? Do we want to talk? We want to talk Gannon. Do we want to talk Gannon yet? I mean, he left Prodigy. It's funny because I think over the last few weeks you've heard me mention Gannon leaving. There was a lot of smoke earlier in the off season where Gannon just kind of there was a lot of talk that Gannon was going to be leaving Prodigy. And then that talk went away. And we all talked about Simon. And Prodigy released a teaser with their pro players, and Gannon was in it. And honestly, at that point, I thought, all right, cool, this is over. It's done with. He's going to finish out his final season. Maybe they'll re-sign him during the season. Maybe something else will happen. Then he dropped a video yesterday announcing that he was parting ways with Prodigy. I'm going to say that I wasn't shocked because, again, I had heard rumors earlier that he was trying to get out of his contract and couldn't. But I thought all that had been smoothed over. So I was surprised, not necessarily shocked. The rumor mill is that he's going Discmania. That more or less MVP handed Discmania a big old wad of cash for Simon and said, thank you, we'll take the 30-year-old. And they took that $1 million and put it in a nice little box and are somehow going to allocate that to the 17-year-old. Hard to blame you. I mean, my assumption is that they bought out that last year of his contract, which honestly, if you're sitting there with $1 million, you've got a kid who was on a 2-year contract, I believe, who signed it. Yeah, I don't think he signed an extension last year. I think it was 2 years. This was his second year. It probably wasn't that much when you have $1 million in your hand, you know, 50,000, 100,000, something like that. Whatever he was owed from Prodigy was probably the amount that they handed over. And my guess is that Gannon is going to get the bag, so to speak. He's a little young to be getting. I've seen a lot of numbers thrown out there, and everybody's speculating, everybody's guessing. We'll probably never know, because it'll probably be NDA'd. But in my gut, I feel like Gannon is like a $200,000 a year player. Right? Kind of feels right. He's not $1 million a year player like the big guys. Even though he's playing up there with them, there are so many other things that come with that $1 million. Obviously, as we've said, you need to push plastic. You need to push plastic hard. You need to have been around a while. Probably have at least a major under your belt. And you need to have a huge personality. And I think Gannon is blossoming into that. He has a personality last year with the other guys on the crew, on his Prodigy crew. Alden Harris, Gavin Babcock, Isaac Robinson. Are we going to see that same interaction with those guys now? I hope so. And as I've said, Alden is one of the very few, if not the only right now, disc golf pages that I subscribe to on YouTube. I love the content. But every sponsor's a little different. So if he goes to Discmania, which again, those are all the rumors that they are looking. And on top of that, so here's a couple other things. A couple of weeks ago, Drew Gibson made a tweet Surprise, surprise. Mentioning all these things that, he was quote unquote, leaky. What did Simon call these people? Leaky leakers or something. And he had said Gannon to Discmania. And then literally like a couple hours later, ha ha ha, joking, not everything you read on the internet is true. Drew knew what was going on in the background, maybe like a lot of us, and just maybe assumed it was done, heard all the rumors, and posted that out there, thinking it was done and over with, and that Gannon was staying, just like we all did. Or he knew ahead of time, spilled the beans, and then laughed it off. I don't know. My guess is the former. My guess is that he thought, like many of us, that rumor had been put to rest. So there was that a couple weeks ago. On top of that, there was the thing from Eagle 2 months ago? Or a month ago or something, saying, sit tight, we got a big thing coming. And that was all we heard from him. It all kind of points to Discmania. And again, these are all just rumors. He could be going somewhere else. But I mean, if I had $100 right now, I'd put 90 on Discmania. That's for sure. So, and what does that mean for Prodigy? I mean, they've got this young. They have, and they still have Alden. They still have Isaac, and Kevin Jones isn't over the hill by any means. They've got this talent that either they seem to have a problem holding on to. I don't know why. Because Kevin seems pretty happy. Did they put all their eggs in the Kevin basket? Can they not, again, speculating, can they not afford to match whatever Discmania was offering Gannon? I don't know. Like I said, you need to have a lot of things in order to hit that big $1 million mark. Now, I think Gannon could hit 200, like I said, 200,000 a year for 4 years, 5 years. It could be a value of $1 million in his contract. He's not getting $1 million a year, I'll tell you that. Or if he does, good Lord, that's insane and probably a bad business move. But I would say more power to you, Gannon. So what is Prodigy? What's their issue? Honestly, we don't know. Do people just, is it the management there? People don't like working with them? I haven't heard much about that. I've heard a little bit about the money, the offerings, the whispers. Kat was unhappy, so she left. Dickerson was unhappy, he left with the compensation they were getting. Kevin Jones seems pretty happy. Kale seems pretty happy. But who knows? Who knows why these, is it just that, did Discmania overpay? Okay, let me say, we're assuming it's Discmania. Did the next company overpay for Gannon? And Prodigy has said we don't think he's worth that. Because as we know, he could be a generational talent. He played phenomenally last year. It's a 1-year thing, though. He's now, the pressure's on. He's got the big contract. He's got, he's going to have some cash behind him, that's for sure. Seems like a really good kid. But there's pressure there. If it's Discmania, he's very lucky that Eagle is there still, because Eagle is going to be the face of that company now. And a few years ago, I would have said, that's great. Eagle can be the face of the company. But to be honest, in the last 2 years, Eagle's kind of stepped away from being the face of anything. He's much happier just playing with his ball and cup game that he plays with, and I don't know the name of it, but that's what I see him post on his socials quite a bit. But he doesn't really seem to be that rah-rah company guy. He kind of likes his privacy now. He competes, he plays, he wins. a.k.a. this weekend, Goat Hill. So I think that Gannon's lucky that Eagle's there right now, but if I remember correctly, Eagle's on his last year of contract. Maybe he's got 1-2 more. I don't know. I thought this was his last year, though. And if so, we've got contract year for Eagle. So if Eagle decides to fly the nest like that, that's almost Terry-worthy. What, Gannon's the face of that company. And that's a lot of pressure for a kid, for an 18-year-old kid. So we're gonna have to we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what it comes. Again, I think it's Discmania. I'm guessing it's Discmania. If it's not Discmania, wow, is what I'll say. That'll be great for whoever gets Gannon. As we know, he's a generational talent, it seems like. I don't think that he's going to fall apart. Is he going to be able to maintain the quality of play that he had last year? It's to be seen. To be seen. Someone says, Gannon Burr plays slowly enough that we can see the disc he's using, which is great marketing. There you go. Maybe that could be worth a few extra shillings in his pocket. Just, get there, drop the bag, pick up the bag, drop the bag, pick up the bag, show the disc, go get a different disc. That's what these pros are missing. You've got 30 seconds, but I bet you there's enough time in there to get a disc, maybe kind of flash it to the camera a little bit, change your mind, in quotes, go get a new disc, show that one to the camera. I'm actually kind of surprised that we don't see more. I don't want to call it showboating. We're going to get off the Gannon subject now. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, next week or the week after, whenever he announces. I'll talk about him a little bit later when we talk about the All-Star stuff coming up. But I've always thought, if you want to sell, if you're a pro who wants to sell their plastic, and I don't know how well this would go over with the general public, we see it once in a great while. Someone hits a big putt, runs up to the basket, pulls it out, walks by and maybe flashes the disc. I would be doing that all the time. And now, granted, maybe people wouldn't like me. I don't know if it's showboating. I mean, you're not really rubbing it in anyone else's face that you hit this putt. You're just pushing your product. But every time I hit a circle 2 putt, I'd take that disc out and I would make sure that the camera saw it. And I would make sure that that had a distinctive stamp on it, whatever it was I was throwing, not anything like stamp wiped off. I want to, if I got the BL Steadies with the bead, it might just say that. I might have a special stamp just said, get BL Steady with bead stamp, and then maybe even the website so I can flash that to the camera, and Tyler Brickley's home phone number. So I'm kind of surprised we don't see that more from pros, kind of flashing their discs a little bit when they're subbing. That's really difficult to do on a drive, but you could easily kind of pick up a disc when the camera's over on you. It's your turn to throw. Pick up the disc, maybe kind of show it to the camera, put it in your bag. I don't know. That's free advertising. I'm kind of shocked that more pros haven't done that. And again, maybe it's uncouth. Maybe I would be known as a showboating dickhead. I don't know. I'm okay with that, though. KW says a lot of the post-production media does the work for them. You're right. A lot of times we see CCDG and Jomez now, I think, even put the drive or the whatever on the actual screen in the graphic. But we're talking live here. I mean, we all know post-production still gets more views. Hands down. But it might be, we also, I'm going to say all in quotes, we also all know that live is more exciting. Who are your more dedicated fans? The people who are really eager to watch live. I think those, again, I've always said it's like a 10-to-1 ratio. I would take one live viewer to 10, maybe even 100 post-production viewers. Because if I'm again, maybe some people watch post-production different than I do. Maybe some people watch post-production different than I do. But I tend to put it on in the background while I'm doing other things. So I'm not even usually watching graphics. Maybe I'm sure some people do. That's why they're there. People love it. Or I'm watching on my couch, if I'm watching live. But usually if I'm watching on my couch, I've got another laptop there. If I saw something like that, pull up a web page maybe. I don't know. I think there's something to be said there. So just posts get more views because people watch multiple times. A little bit. I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but just in general, it gets more views. It's easier. It's condensed. I mean, it's a different type of entertainment. The Jerem Yuli interaction is way different than the Charlie Bryan interaction. It's filling, as anyone that listens to our podcast knows, filling 3 hours of time isn't always easy. Unless you have Terry Miller. He makes it easy. So, but it's not from multiple views. I think there's maybe 20% probably. If I had to take a rough guess, that's 100% a guess. My 20% is 100% guess. So I don't know what percentage that equals. But that post-production, those views are multiple watches. And it only takes 30 seconds of watching a video to get a view. So if it starts up, auto starts in the background, that's a view if it lasts 30 seconds. So let's move on and talk a little bit about the All-Star event this weekend. The All-Star event. We saw 2 different drafts. Well, somebody saw them. I didn't watch it. Terry hosted the MPO draft, and I don't know did he host the FPO draft as well? I don't think he did. I don't believe he did. But 2 different drafts. I'm going to pull up the graphics here. You can find the graphics out on the Disc Golf Pro Tours page. Oh, no, I just hit the wrong button. Now I need to scroll down again. Let's pull those up again. Scroll, scroll, scroll. There they are. And that's the button I want. So what we have Team Ricky and Team Paul. And Ricky's team consists of, obviously, Ricky, the aforementioned Gannon Burr, Matty Oram, James Conrad, Kevin Klein, Simon Lizotte. Solid team. Team Paul is Kevin Jones, Chris Dickerson, Joel Freeman, Calvin Heimberg, Isaac Robinson, and, of course, Paul Macbeth. Looking at these 2 teams, I mean, it's going to be extremely difficult to pick a winner. There's 3 different skill challenges. There's distance. There's what they're calling accuracy, which is kind of almost like I don't say trick shot, but different shots, hyzer, anhyzer, over the top, underneath, trying to get too close to a basket, you get points. Ultimately, it's worth 1 total point, though. And distance, accuracy, and putting. So each of those is worth 1 point. And you have 2 players. So I believe each one technically is worth 2 points, each station, because you have 2 people competing. I don't exactly remember who had what, but let's be honest, those are more than likely tiebreaker points, because you're getting points for the doubles round and points for each individual singles round. So I think you're going to end up using those more as tiebreakers than anything else when these things come close, because I'm looking at these 2 teams, and if I had to take a wild guess, I'm sorry, Team Ricky, but I think Paul's team is a little stronger when it comes to singles. Now, doubles and doubles. Sorry, singles and doubles. On Paul's team, Kevin Jones, crazily enough, is the odd man out. He's the guy who had a bad season last year. He didn't perform on the course. Performed off the course. A lot of DJ mixing. I understand it was a lot of fun, but ultimately, I think Paul's team is overall stronger, heads up, than Team Ricky. Lizotte is give or take in singles. Klein, same thing. I mean, he's a top 10 talent, but Conrad's former world champion, but again, not known for that harsh competitive the killer instinct, we'll say it, just doesn't seem to exist with Conrad. Great player, but I look at Paul's team, and every one of those guys looks like, to me, maybe not Vinny. They all have, for the most part, kind of a killer instinct. And maybe Vinny does. He just doesn't show it. Cool, calm, and collected. Matty O, always a solid player. Possibly the third best player in the world right now. Fourth best. Gannon Burr, new plastic. Maybe. Maybe he'll still use his Prodigy stuff. Who knows? Until he announces a manufacturer, he can probably use whatever he wants. They might wait till after the All-Star to announce, just so he can continue to use Prodigy stuff without any sort of weird awkwardness, because it's stuff that he knows. And then maybe, I'm guessing, right after All-Star break, or maybe even on Sunday. No, they would wait till after All-Star break. They would wait till Monday or Tuesday to announce who his next sponsor is. But it's possible Burr's using some different plastic. And then Ricky, who is a stone cold killer. You'll have to excuse me, I keep muting just to cough a little bit. Still have this thing going on. It's going around in my family. I have a pain. But that's fine. So I think in singles and doubles, I got to take Paul's team to probably take 70% of those points. So I think Team Ricky has to really do well in the skills competition in order to stand a chance. And I don't know, because I couldn't find the graphic anywhere. Pro Tour, come on. Where you at? You have the teams. You should put a little letter underneath each one as to what they're competing with. The only thing I remember seeing is that Simon is doing distance, which is great. But Simon has kind of stepped away from distance stuff, with the injury. So for Ricky to put Simon in distance, to me, not where I would have moved him. I would have probably had Gannon and probably Klein to do distance. Because I think you can get away with those two stacked up to almost anyone on Paul's team. Because while they all can throw far, you don't, other than Calvin, you don't think of any of those guys as Pro Tour level elite crushers, so to speak. They're all out driving all of us. They can all throw 500 feet. That's goes without saying. But stacked up, Team Ricky, I think, is a little bit of an advantage on the distance. Yeah. I mean, we know that Vinny can crush line drives, which is how he won the distance last year. So other than Vinny, though, they all throw far, but not crazy far. So, yeah. So Team Ricky is going to have to step up in the skills challenge. Let's talk a little bit about the FPO teams now. That was Team Own versus Team Cat. Katrina's team is obviously herself, Evelina Salonen, Alexis Mondahano, Sarah Hokum, Hannah Blomroos, and Jen Allen. Versus Team Own, which is Scoggins, Maria Oliva, Missy Gannon, Holland Hanley, Ella Hansen, and Kat Murch. I think heads up, you take Team Cat. Skills challenge, I go with Team Own all day long. I look at Team Cat and I see some pretty big throwers, but none of them are probably reaching Holland Hanley or Ella Hansen, or even Cat Merch. I mean, Cat Merch throws far, but Hanley and Hansen should have that distance down flat. And when it comes to putting, who do you pick on Cat's team to putt? Alexis? Is she the best putter on that team? I'll take Cat. I mean, if you're looking at, like, Cat can get hot. Circle 2 putts all day long. She's got that nice that swing putt that she can get deadly with from edge of circle and out. She's a little shaky still inside the circle. And last year we saw Blomroos and Salonen just... So we'll see what happens with them. Hopefully they got that stuff worked out in this offseason with that team they work with. Sarah Hokum, not known as the best putter. Sarah Hokum's a very tentative putter. You almost never see Sarah go past a basket. If she's missing, she's coming up short. Alexis is a pretty decent putter. Jen Allen can get hot with her putter, but in general, I've seen Jen Allen. I mean, she'll turbo putt when she starts to get nervous. So I don't know who on Team Cat you pick as your putter. I think they'll probably have the accuracy win if I had to pick, because I think that you've got some really sneaky veterans like Cat and Hokum. And again, I don't know who's playing what position, because it's not listed here, and I wish it was on their social medias. But ultimately, Team Own heads up. I'm sorry, Team Own for the skills, Team Cat heads up, because I think when you get onto the course is when Team Cat is going to shine, because Salonen, Blomroos, Allen, Cat Allen are all phenomenal drivers. And Jen Allen, too, if you're looking at distance. I mean, she's not known for her accuracy, so to speak, her kind of middling distance. But we've seen that she can clearly play well in Arizona. Jen is a dominant Arizona player, and they're in Tucson right now. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know up from down right now. So, we'll figure out what's going to happen this weekend on DGN. So if you're interested, tune into the Disc Golf Network. I'll probably be tuned in. We'll see if I have time to do like a watch party on Sunday. I don't know if I will. I don't know what's going on Sunday. I'll have to look at my calendar. But if I'm just sitting around watching, then I might as well just sit around and watch and talk to you people, right? And laugh and make fun of people, mock them. We'll see. Dust says Klein over Lazat. Nah. I don't know. Are those the two? Yeah, I know Lazat's doing distance. Klein maybe too. We'll see. I don't know. But again, I feel bad putting Simon at distance, knowing that he has specifically said that he's not going all out with his distance these days. That he's like an 80% distance player. So to put him in that position is, I think it was a bad move by Ricky. I just think it was a bad move. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, Simon needs to now think about the team, whether that point is going to be worth risking whatever throw he has. We'll see. I just don't like that move. I think Rick made a lot of good moves. I don't like that one. Yeah, Team Own has crushers. I mean, in distance-wise, you've got those two that just Hanley and Ella, who are, hammers, No doubt. All right, let's move on off of the All-Star. Again, watch it this weekend. We'll see what I do. Maybe I'll get some time to sit and jabber and talk. I know Terry will be doing live broadcasting. He'll be in Bend. Speaking of Bend, Oregon, that's a great segue. The other thing that was announced this week that I've known for quite a while, because that was all part of planning and who's doing commentary, the Dosses are expecting in July. I guess that was July. Either way, we're going to have a little DOS come into the world. So huge shout out and congratulations to Nate and Val. Just couldn't ask for two better people in the world, and going to be phenomenal parents. So congratulations to the Dosses on their expecting child. Can't wait to meet him or her. I don't know. I think it's a her. I don't know for sure. I didn't look. I saw the announcement, but I didn't read it because I already knew the announcement. So I was kind of like, oh, look at that cool picture of a mini in a basket and a mini basket or something. Yeah. So cool beans. Let's talk about an event that happened this weekend. The challenge at Goat Hill, presented by Innova. This was also the first event kind of the season where we saw a few of our players show up. Really? I mean, this is the best field so far, right? Eagle McMahon, Albert Tom, Eric Oakley, Luke Sampson, Zach Arlinghouse. I mean, these are all names that you'll see on the tour all season long. And again, one of my sleeper picks, Zach Arlinghouse. He's a steal at 1,007. His first round was 998, so a little under that. Then he jumped up to 1013, about average, and then a 1046. I think this kid is set to jump at least 15 rating points this year. So be on the lookout for a little Zach. But anyway, Eagle McMahon takes this one home, ultimately winning by 4 strokes over Jacob Cupcake Curtis, who I watched more of this post-production than I've watched in a long time, and it was still only like 5 minutes of post-production, and I watched it at 2 times speed. So, but what I did see was that was round 2. I didn't watch round 3. Jacob Curtis crushes. That guy just hammers a disc. There is no doubt that he is going to be force on the tour. He's a 1,006 rated player, and he shot a 1052, a 1025, and a 1053. Now, again, horses for courses here. This is a crusher course. This is the course you go out to and you just expend your arm. So there's no surprise that he finished second. Is he a 1040 player or 1038 rated player? I don't think so. Not overall. But on courses like this might be a great pick for Vegas. If you're looking for, again, a cheap pick if he's playing Vegas. Let's see what Jacob Curtis is playing coming up, if he's scheduled for all the Pro Tour events or not. He's doing Vegas and then OTB. He'll also be doing the Memorial, Daniel Bowe, but as far as DGPT, Vegas, he'd be a good steal for Vegas as far as points. But anyway, Jacob Curtis taking second place to Eagle McMahon. Third place, Parker Welk. Fourth place, Cody Kirkland. Cody played really well last year as well and kind of had a little, I think, a little hiccup towards the end of the Goat Hill event. Cody is a disc golf legacy, if that's such a thing. You know, I think it's his father, John Kirkland. Sounds right. But Cody has been big in the ultimate scene for a while, but his dad is obviously an old school disc golfer. Albert Tom taking 5th place, tied with I almost said Bradley. Brady Oach. Ope. That's not Ope. Oak. I don't know. I can't pronounce his last name. But Albert Tom, a little bit of a surprise, coming out and shooting just a little bit above his rating. So not bad, taking 5th place. No shock But Albert is a crusher as well, so I kind of would have expected maybe one place better, but I mean, that's only a stroke or two. How do you really complain about how Albert Tom finished here? You take top 5 against Eagle, and again, Jacob Curtis, Cupcake, who throws forever. 7th place, Connor Rock. 8th place, Eric Oakley. 9th place, Luke Sampson. As I said, 10th place, Zach Arlinghouse. And then you move down to FPO here. Just last week, or no, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, we saw Maria Oliva get handed her game by Jennifer Allen in Arizona. Well, now they move over to California, and Maria Oliva shows up and wins 2 strokes, averaging, looks like about 970-ish golf, maybe 965, somewhere around there. So Maria Oliva, who's a 946 rated player, shoots 14 under par, beating Jen Allen and Owen Scoggins. Now, again, I know Owen played well here last year, but this is not an Owen course. This is a long course. So Maria Oliva, who can throw far, Jen Allen, who can throw far, both beat Owen by about 10 strokes. And Owen Scoggins, who finished, who's a 977 rated player and played 30 points below her rating on average. Not for Owen. Not for Owen, sorry. 4th place was Taylor Semeka? Taylor Semeka. 5th place, Violet Main. Violet Main's a name I've been hearing a lot more lately. 6th place, Christy King and Danny Cleedon. So congratulations to the FPO players at Goat Hill. Goat Hill looks like a beautiful course that I don't think I'd ever want to play. Not in the configuration that they're playing it. Man, does that look long. Just throw after throw after throw. Man, I'm getting old. I don't want to throw that far. I'm excited to play Standing Rocks. Heavily wooded, more shot shaping, less throw as hard as you can. 2 rounds on a Saturday, 1 round on a Sunday. Much fun. I didn't get a chance, Jay, to see if Eagle had thrown any lefty shots. If someone out there, that's great. I heard that the putting was for the bazooka. That's kind of his story, though, right? Get him inside the circle, and he's got a problem. If he wants to compete on the Pro Tour, he needs to clean that up. Otherwise, he is a top-tier, silver-tier player. Silver event player, whatever, silver-tier event series, whatever those things are called these days. Yeah, Albert needs to work on his putting game. So I don't know what happened this weekend particularly, though. Again, I didn't watch. I just know the results. It's too early. We're early February, man. Mid-February. It's Valentine's Day. Still too early for golf for me. Just happy that we're getting golf back. If it was live, I'd have watched it. At least would have had it on. So. The only other event that really mattered this weekend was the GCDGC. Say that fast. Presented by presents the 40th Victoria Open. Victoria Open is a very classic event. A hot tour qualifier powered by One Star and Mint. That's a mouthful, people. Let's work on our event names. We don't need a paragraph. But Mint player Mason Ford, new Mint player, takes this one by a single stroke over Raven Newsom and Keenan Ford. So congratulations, Mason and Keenan. Now, Mason and Keenan, I don't believe are related by any means. Keenan's from Wichita, Kansas. Mason is from Cibolo, Texas. So, Keenan's a 980 rated player. Ends up finishing tied for second, only losing to by a stroke to Mason Ford. That is a solid finish for a 980 rated player. But Mason Ford, who's 1026, He ended up shooting a 1042, a 1023, and a 1023. So he averaged just a little bit above his rating, probably about 1028. So he didn't have to do anything out of the ordinary to win this one. He was the best player here, and he won. No shock. Again, second and third, Raven and Keenan. Fourth place, Chandler Kramer, another Mint-sponsored player. No, I take that back. Chandler Kramer is a Lone Star-sponsored player. Texas, man. They got all these sponsors now. Fifth place, Charlie Moore. Sixth place, Freddie Meza, Sam DiCarlo. Eighth place, Connor O'Reilly. Ninth place, Thunder Schultz from the Schultz family. Congratulations. And tied for 10th was Seth Talbot and GT Hancock. Moving down to FPO, Stephanie Vincent tied with Aria Castorita, but gets the win. They tied at 7 over par. Both of which shot right around their rating. 935-ish, it looks like. So again, they were the top two players by quite a few ratings points, and they ended up tying coming into. Now, let's put it like this. Stephanie Vincent is PDGA number 29947. That's right. Not 290,000. We're not there yet. 29,947. Aria Castorita is 105,126, which is still now feels 100,000 feels like an old player, but Aria was just rookie of the year last year. What a phenomenal player. She'll be fun to watch her game develop over the next few years. So, and not calling anyone out, but just because I think it's kind of interesting. Sixth place in FPO was Melody Castorita, who's an 889 rated player. So another Castorita, starting to maybe make her debut. So congratulations to Stephanie Vincent for winning this one, taking home $376. What else? Do we have anything else that I need to talk about on the board? I know we're a little bit behind as far as the chat goes. So by the time this answers, it'll be like another 20 seconds. But those are the events. That's kind of the news. I know the PDGA announced a job opening. That was a whole week ago. Never mind. So the newest thing, the PDGA says the 2024 PDGA Champions Cup invitation criteria announced. Now then, this is 2024, not 2023. 2024. They're handling it a lot like USDGC, in that it's many of these events get invites. Wrong button there. Hit the lights instead of the mute. So Vegas is going to get 2 invites. Waco's going to get 2 invites. Open in Austin, 2 invites, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It looks like every Elite Series and European Tour, I almost said Elite Tour. European Tour gets 2 spots. ADGC gets a single spot. USDGC gets a single spot. Again, we're talking 2024, so next year already. These, and then a couple other random events, Canadian Nationals, the Australian Disc Golf Championships, Japan National Championships. Those are going to probably get 1 or 2 spots as well. It says here European Championship, so that we can get more people. That should virtually fill the field. So if you've already qualified, obviously it'll just move down to the next player, just like USDGC does. Plus top 5 plus ties in both MPO and FPO from this year's Champion Cup as well. So that's going to be 10 plus spots right there and there alone. Thank goodness for mute buttons. That's what I have to say. Is there anything that we've missed on the board? Where in the world is Terry Miller? I believe he is in Phoenix, technically, right now. He might be in California, but I know he has a 6 a.m. flight to Tucson. And he's going to get Tucson for the Disc Golf Convention, which then obviously rolls into the All-Star this weekend. Tucson, which is in the news right now because they had some sort of, again, got two of them in this country right now, some sort of chemical spill in Tucson, which there's a stay indoors for this like mile or two around this radius on the south side of Tucson. So south of Tucson, the course that they're playing is on the very north side of Tucson. So complete opposite side of Tucson. So hopefully whatever is spilling into the environment right now is contained and we don't have to worry about it for the Pro Tour. I don't think we will, but I mean, you never know. I don't know. Not to be confused with the East Palestine, Ohio chemical spill from a train. The one in Tucson was from a truck that I just read an hour ago. I don't know what's going on, people. It's the apocalypse. So just be safe. Jay Terry says there was black ice on a bridge. Yeah, I saw Paul Macbeth say that it was snowing in Vegas. What do you do? We've seen it before. Some of these early rounds out in the desert, a little bit of precipitation, a little bit of snow. Usually it's cleared up by midday for the men. I don't know if we're going to see any of that this year or not, or what the weather's going to be like this weekend in Vegas. I suppose I could look. I mean, I've got the internet at my fingertips. Let's do a quick search for Vegas. What is the weather going to be like? Las Vegas, Nevada. We're looking at low 50s for most of the event, and then on Sunday it kind of jumps up to mid 60s. So the weekend should be okay, but man, those are going to be some chilly rounds in Vegas. Now let's look at Tucson, where the All-Star event is. USCON. Tucson, Arizona. Tucson's a little warmer. You're looking at 56. Oh, yeah, 64, 75. Oh, they're going to be fine this weekend. A little bit, maybe a little bit of rain on Sunday. A little bit of rain on Sunday. And who knows what Vegas will be like in, 2 weeks when they play? It could be 90. I don't know. Or it could be 50. It's a desert. I don't understand weather. I'm not a weatherman. I'm barely a disc golf guy. I'm not even the disc golf guy. Scott Stokely made a post yesterday, day before, about how many that he's like almost basically his 30th anniversary of MPO wins. He won this weekend over in Thailand. He did not win Koh Samui. I believe he won the other event that Terry was at on the other side of the island. And it's almost 30, he said almost 30 years to the day from his first MPO win. So still behind Jonny Sias, though. From first win to current win, I believe Scott Stokely is at like 14,000 days, 14,100. Sias was at 15,000 plus. So it's going to be tough. That means you're looking at like another 3 to 4 years. Stokely has to make an MPO win in like 3 to 4 years. Now, that's not saying he couldn't do it. He could pick up a B tier win somewhere if he really wanted that title. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, it is 10 o'clock. I've been chattering for an hour. We're going to do a little after show. I feel like we've missed out on the after show. Not that there's much difference. So come up with something that you want to talk about. Anything. Someone's talking about cholesterol on the board. I hope I don't have any sort of cholesterol. I had 2 eggs this morning for breakfast. And a smoothie. I've been making smoothies lately. If you've got a good smoothie recipe, send it my way. Because right now I'm just doing bananas and frozen berries and Greek yogurt, ice cubes, and maybe a little bit of fruit juice. Not fruit juice, but like a orange juice, or maybe like my wife bought this like dragon juice, I think it's called. I don't know. It's got like a different acai berries and crap in it. And it just adds a little flavor to it. But anyway, if you got a good smoothie recipe, send it my way, because I'm always interested. But this has been episode 442, as smooth as that was. Terry should be back next week. 3 weeks he's been gone. 3 full weeks. We're going to get into the after show for a little bit, but I'm going to go fill up my water, probably cough again once or twice, and then we'll be back. So sit tight. Until next time, when you step inside the Smashbox. Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 442's After Show. Lonely. I'm all by myself. I totally botched that ending, by the way, for the main show. I stumbled right through that one, baby. Talked a lot, and then I just couldn't think of something, and I just blanked out. So, but we're back. It is the after show. Hey, Nova, welcome to the chat. Saw you were on another podcast. You cheating on us? No, that's fine. I don't really got a lot to talk about, guys. Not gonna lie. It's been kind of boring the last few days. I finished. I throw finished in quotes because it's 95% done. My arcade machine. I built this big old 7-foot arcade machine that I can sit and play games. I bought a little Xbox controller for it too, so I can play Nintendo games on it. Because Nintendo games are better to play on an actual joypad than a joystick. How they were meant to be played. So I've got an Xbox controller. It's gonna be stuck to the side of it, so I can just grab that whenever I want. It's awesome, by the way. This little big arcade machine. I've got almost every arcade game on it. I got every Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, Game Boy. I got all the games. Every game I'd ever want to play is on that system now. So it's pretty cool. Something I've wanted for a long time. And now that we got been in this house for a year and a half, it's time. It was time to have it. The Super Bowl did happen. Wow. Talk about some hot takes. What a great game in general. And then, unfortunately, the end of the game, for those of you that care, was marred by a an official holding call. He held. The ref called it with, it gave the Chiefs a first down and let them run out the clock basically, so that the Eagles didn't really have a chance to score. So it robbed, people felt robbed that they didn't get a chance for the Eagles to come back and score. And I get that. It sucks. But I watched the footage again, and the dude held him twice. Not only with the right hand did he pull the jersey by his stomach, it was at least 6 to 8 inches away from the body, so you could see that. But on top of that, he kind of had his left arm wrapped around his hip, just a little bit. The left arm one I can get away from. Like, you don't probably have to call that because he didn't grab, he didn't turn him. It was more just kind of on him. But man, the jersey pull, it's hard not to call that. And I understand people are like, oh, the refs should just let him play. He didn't have a chance to catch that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about that. Like, if he doesn't pull that jersey, maybe Mahomes can kind of send it up to him. It would be tough. It definitely would be tough. Odds are against it. But as a ref, like, you kind of want, I mean, what do we want? We want no refs, or do we want refs all the time? So we're getting constant flags. You want refs to only make calls that quote unquote matter, because they don't know when it matters or not. Could he have swallowed his whistle there? Maybe. But ultimately he was held, and the ref is looking at that. He throws the flag as he's supposed to, and the Chiefs win. So Chiefs are a better second half team. The Eagles were a better first half team, but unfortunately it's a 2-half game, and wah, wah. Congratulations, Chiefs. Bachhauser says the NFL's rigged. It's just like wrestling. I don't think it is. I think it is rigged. I think that there are, clearly the refs could sway the game by putting their thumb on the scales, but ultimately, that you can really only do that in close games. I mean, you would have to be, it would get egregious. So Tim Court says the defensive turnover in the first half cost the Eagles the game. Yeah, the one where they scored, where Jalen Hurts just dropped the ball. That wasn't good. Yeah, for those of you that are curious, we do have a Discord, and I think you can dig around and find it. Otherwise, I can maybe make a post to it somewhere. So if you want to join the Smashbox Discord, I'm in there every once in a while. I'll post a new picture of the arcade machine. It's got LED buttons on it. Let me see if I think I have a picture on my phone. The only thing I don't have done on it right now is the marquee. See if I can do this here. There it is. There it is. Pretty cool. I got a nice cool Super Mario theme on the control panel. The marquee is what I haven't done yet up on the top, because I haven't decided what I want to do. If I just want a standard LED marquee, or they're making these really cool ones. They're a little expensive. I don't know how much money I want to put into it. That'll actually change, because they're just displays. It's an LCD display that changes depending on what game you're playing. So if you're playing Super Mario Brothers, it's got a Super Mario Brother marquee. If you're playing pole position, it's got a pole position marquee. It's really freaking cool. But those are like $200 to $300, and I can get a regular backlit clear LED or a marquee for like $30. So there's a difference there. And I haven't decided which way I want to go. So I'm just leaving it open for now. I'm leaving my options open. More or less, I'm probably going to leave it open until I bite the bullet and get one next month so I can tinker around with it some more. So Die Hard Arcade is a fun playthrough. Okay, I'll have to try that. There's a lot of games now that I can play through. Next year, I think I want to build a virtual pinball machine. But that's going to be a little bit more effort, because it's like 2 or 3 screens, and one of them is probably a big TV you take out of the case and set into the pinball box. But I think it could be really cool. Virtual pinball. Not as cool as regular pinball, but love me some pinball. It's my favorite thing. I'd rather have a pinball machine than an arcade machine. That's how much I love pinball. But an arcade machine was easier build. So, yep. So we talked the Super Bowl. So congratulations to the Chiefs. A lot of Chiefs fans out there. I had no dog in the fight. So to me, I just when I saw that holding call, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Wah, wah. What else do we have? Any sports? No, nothing else sporty going on. I like to play Street Fighter on that thing. Street Fighter 2, to be honest. Street Fighter. And I'll play Street Fighter 2 like once or twice every day or two. I'll just go down, toss in, a couple credits, and just sit and play Street Fighter 2. Just the original Street Fighter 2. Not the Championship Edition, not the Hyper Edition, not Street Fighter 3, not the Alpha. Just straight up Street Fighter 2. I realize that I'm not as good as I used to be. So, we'll see. I haven't started some races. The Last of Us has been really good every week. I haven't started watching it. I'm just going to wait. I know the general story. Here's the problem I'm going to have with The Last of Us. And I'm sure it's good. It's going to be a great story. But it's an apocalyptic story about a guy who's got to bring a girl across the country. So I'm just going to make the assumption that every person, every good person they meet is going to die. Right? Like, happy episodes do not belong in The Last of Us. So, if there's if they run into someone helpful, I'm going to assume that they're going to die. That's how Last of Us works. That's how every zombie show works. Racism not wrong. Yeah. It's Mandalorian meets zombies. Mandalorian Season 3 is about to come out. I'm excited for that. We're going to see, hopefully my son asked me today, he's like, when are we going to go see Ant-Man? Because we're a Marvel family and we watch all the Marvel stuff. So, Ant-Man Quantumania, or whatever the heck it's called, Quantum Zone, that comes out this weekend. So I'll probably go maybe Sunday or Monday. Sunday I'll try to drag the family to it, but we'll see. See how my wife is feeling. Their whole nose thing. The Flash trailer is exciting because I'm old and I saw Batman with Michael Keaton in the theaters back in '89. So the fact that he's reprising the role, spoilers, for those of you that didn't watch the trailer, is exciting. I'm curious what they're going to do with this Flash because he has been troublesome in real life. So if he never showed up again in another movie, I wouldn't be shocked. But early reviews of the Flash movie came out sounding pretty good. Oh, we'll see. I'm excited. I'll go see it. And another Indiana Jones movie. Hopefully better than Crystal Skull. The end of Crystal Skull. Yuck. So. And in fact, I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark in the movie theater because I'm old. But I was really young then. My aunt took me to, she was babysitting me. So it was like, must have been 5 or 6. And it wasn't the first showing. It must have been like a budget. But I vividly recall sitting in the theater as a kid, watching the faces of the Nazis melt and laughing because I thought it was funny. Like, it just looked, even then, I mean, it looked so cheesy. And I remember my aunt who, like, again, she was probably, she had to be a teenager at the time, was like appalled because she was a teenage girl and it was gross for her. But here I am, just this little kid. I found it hilarious. And from there, set me along my crazy shifted ways. Wes Warren says, back to disc golf content and World War III news. I don't know anything about World War III. Not yet. So, hope not. And I am looking forward to the Super Mario Brothers cartoon movie. I will go see that as well. I'm a glutton for punishment. I saw the Super Mario Brothers movie in the theater as well. So, saw a lot of movies as kids. It was a lot of fun. Tim asks if anyone ever snuck into the movie in the trunk for drive-ins. I never did that. It's like I've never skipped into another movie theater from one, which on one hand I would think would be easier now, because you could sit, if when one movie ends and you're in the theater, you could just look at the app on your phone and see which seats are open and jump to another theater and go sit in one of those open seats. Right? I mean, everyone's got assigned seating now, but you'd assume that those seats would be sold a few minutes before the movie. Now, granted, someone might be showing up, whatever, but if you get into a movie, whatever, yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know, is that easier or harder now because of assigned seating? Who knows? Not that I've thought about it. Am I a bad dad if I do that with my 13-year-old son? If I teach him that? Or is that kind of just like a rite of passage? Because I never did it as a kid, so I don't know if I'd be a bad dad doing that. I've told him about it, so we'll see if he ever does. Nova says that she bought a ticket to some indie flick and then walked into the auditorium for Ender's Game to avoid giving any money to OSC. Valid. Ender's Game was all right. Not bad. Not great. Made me read the book. Book was better, as most books are. I didn't read the book before that. After the first book, meh, they kind of go downhill. So, like, are movies still a thing? Yeah, I love to see movies. I like to go to the movie theater. I do. Popcorn. Seeing movies with a group is an experience. And I know some people still aren't ready for experiences, but there's something there. Seeing Endgame in the theater was phenomenal. I saw it, I think, 3 times in the theater. The moment when Captain America gets we're here with nerd talk. When Captain America grabs the hammer, Mjolnir. I don't know if there's been a better moment in the last 15 years in movies than that moment for an audience. Crazy. Oh, Spock says, speaking of books being different, who here remembers a scene with an octopus in the Goonies? Yes, the infamous TV cut. So we had Goonies on VHS as kids, and we watched the crap out of it. And there's a scene when they're at One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship. And they end up sliding down, and they run into an octopus. And that was not on our VHS. Because it turns out that was cut from the movie, but it was somehow put in, I believe, into the made-for-TV version. So, if I remember correctly, that is how that worked. But I've seen both of those, so you can probably YouTube it. I bet you it's out there. Yeah. There's 2 movies. Well, there's a lot of movies, but 2 specifically we watched a lot as a kid. I think I've said this before. Goonies and Labyrinth. Both of those movies, I could, like, when the movie starts, I can recite almost every word from those movies because we watched those a lot as kids. Yeah, the trailer has some of the cutscenes that are in it that didn't make it, which I guess is like illegal now. You can't. Someone sued a movie company because she was in a trailer but didn't make the final cut of the movie. So now there's like a almost like a bait and switch kind of lawsuit going on about movies and trailers and what you can show in the trailer, because there's a scene from um, the Avengers movie, the first half of Endgame, where they're all running towards Thanos when they're in Wakanda that never made the cut. You don't ever see that in the movie, but clearly it's a 5-second clip. So I have not seen Top Gun Maverick yet. So I will at some point. That's enough about movies. That's enough about movies. Music. Weren't the Grammys just on? Yeah, the Grammys just did their thing. Don't know. Modern music. Rihanna, halftime show. That's music related. It was okay. I mean, I recognized a few Rihanna songs. There was nothing special about the show. I thought it was kind of cool that she just did it by herself. She didn't bring any guest stars on. I wasn't sure if she would, but when you're one of the biggest or the biggest celebrity in the world that everyone's looking for, you're the show. So it was okay. It was nothing special. So Disc Golf wants to talk punk rock in the 90s. No Effects, Pennywise, Bad Religion. How about No Use for a Name, Face to Face? Those were my two bands, actually. I liked quite a bit. The Vagrant scene was kind of my thing. Maybe a little bit of Fat Records. So Tommy Hawk says, just tuned in. Who's the guest for the after show? Ain't no guest, just me. So if Fugazi isn't really, I mean, they're kind of punk, but they're not 90s punk. It's like not in that genre, at least. It's more early 90s rock. Rock isn't even the right word. I guess it's kind of punk. It's the DC scene. Fugazi is the DC scene. That's early Discord, which I don't know if I consider a different kind of punk than the Fat Record style pop punk, for sure. Yeah, it's a little more hardcore. Fugazi leans a little bit more hardcore than, but we're not. I mean, we're not talking like H2O hardcore. Yeah, Propane, Biohazard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Punkorama stuff. So this call says Ian MacKaye was the lead singer of Minor Threat. I know that. I know all that stuff, buddy. I've seen Rollins a few times live. His spoken word stuff. I've never seen him in concert, but and Ian MacKaye hasn't toured since I think I've been probably 18. So I'm the hardest of core. Fake PDGA. Yes, living in my Bayside house with my two kids and my wife. Who, I'm the hardest of hardcore here. I did my thing in college. It was one of the things you could afford to do in college, or I could. Was I played disc golf tournaments and I went to concerts. It was like the two things I did. That's what I spent my money on. I saw a lot of Midwest punk, indie, emo shows back before the term emo was almost like a curse. Back when it was really, your Midwest stuff. Your, Captain Jazz, Braid, Hey Mercedes, the whole, Dashboard Confessional, Get Up Kids, those type of early, indie scene stuff was right up my alley. That's I saw a lot of that, and then obviously the punk shows, the Face to Face, No Use for a Name, yeah, all the Punkorama stuff, the Fat Record stuff. So, what was my favorite concert? We were just talking about this at our adult night the other night. There is nobody that I haven't, nobody that's touring right now that I would want to see. I've seen all my bands. The last one, surprisingly, was They Might Be Giants. I hadn't seen them, and that was the last one where I felt like I really have to see them. Two bands that I would still probably want to go see that I'm not eager to see them. I'd like to go see Weird Al and maybe Ben Folds. Those are probably the two that are like, if they came to town, I would go see them. I just bought concert tickets the other day for Sunny Day Real Estate. They're coming to Milwaukee. They haven't been to Milwaukee probably 20 years, maybe more. I saw them at one of their farewell tours years ago in Chicago. No, that was a reunion tour in Chicago. So it was awesome. I love one of my favorite bands, Sunny Day Real Estate. Early Sub Pop records out on the West Coast. So, but my favorite concert, it might have been, it's hard to beat your first good concert, right? Like the very first one, one of my favorites has to be when I saw Face to Face, which is a punk band in Green Bay. And it's a small, I think it was at Concert Cafe. Just a tiny little bar. And it was like 110 degrees in there. Because I think it was like 98 degrees outside. And you pack in 120 kids all screaming at the top of their lungs, bouncing around. And I don't know if I've ever yelled so hard in my life. I mean, again, that was like one of my very first concerts I got to go see. So it was pretty epic for me back then. Otherwise, I was a big fan of the band Braid, and so I got to see them a bunch here in the Midwest because one of the guys is here, two of them are from Milwaukee. One still lives. He's a teacher now, of all things. I've seen him a couple of times around town at different shows, but seeing one of their farewell shows here in Milwaukee was amazing. Like it's one where you're screaming and singing, and everybody else knows that it's the end of a kind of a band, and you get to do that. So that was probably one of the other ones was on their first farewell tour before they kind of got back together and didn't tour and then left. So those are probably it. Because punk shows are the best. I've seen all sorts of different. I saw Billy Joel. That was a pretty awesome concert. Foo Fighters just a couple of years ago here. Foo Fighters and Green Day just announced that they're playing in Milwaukee back-to-back days for Harley Fest for the 120-year anniversary. And we saw Foo Fighters a couple of years ago, and they put on a crazy good show. That's up there with one of my better shows that I've seen. It was the Foo Fighters. But it's hard. I mean, seeing somebody in like a stadium, unless you're down like right there in front of the stage, it just feels so impersonal to me. I like it. I'll go do it again. We saw Pearl Jam in the same arena. Or technically it wasn't. It was the Bradley Center back then. But and that was a great show too. But there nothing to me beats the small venue concert where it's 200 people, maybe 100, maybe it's 30 because nobody knows that band yet. Those are my favorite shows. So, and the Sunny Day Real Estate one's gonna be at the Pabst Theater, so that's gonna be, I think they've got like a 400 or 500 person capacity. I may go see a band called Soulside, which is an East Coast punk band, but I would go there for the opener, which is Jay Robbins from a band called, one of my favorite band, maybe my all-time favorite band, Jawbox. It's hard to tell if that's my favorite. It's so many good songs. But anyway, that's John reminiscing about music. All the stuff that I saw for the longest time. So I've never seen anything at Red Rocks. I haven't actually seen many shows outside of Chicago and Milwaukee. I've seen a few Minneapolis shows, but other than that, I've never really traveled to go see anything. So, do we have anything else out there? Ask me about movies. We asked about concerts, TV shows. I think we're watching some. My wife started watching some show. I'm watching it with her. Called Louder Milk. It's on Amazon. It's got Ron Livingston, the main guy from Office Space, who plays like a. It's all right. I mean, he plays this grumpy old kind of recovering alcoholic, and it's okay. It's a couple years old. I think it's just streaming, and she wanted something to watch, so it's all right. There's a lot of talk about Primus on the board. Um, I've never been a big Primus person. I mean, everybody loved Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. I don't know if I can name another Primus song, to be honest, other than that. So, all right, guys, it seems like we've hit a wall as far as information or what people want to talk about. So, I mean, on a side note, talking about music, YouTube has just released a new feature called Creator Music, which allows you to license music from real bands, not just the generic crap that you constantly hear on every single YouTube, the same 5 songs. And you can either pay like a one-time license fee or you can share your monetization money with it. So, I don't know, maybe we'll start playing a little bit more music here on, not on Smashbox podcast. I don't think so. But maybe on, maybe we'll do things. I might start a Skip Bass podcast. We'll see. It wouldn't be live if I did it. It'd be pre-recorded. So, oh yes, My Name is Mud. That's the other Primus song that everyone knows. And Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. Those are the 2 Primus songs. Not my thing. Not my thing. Can't give up on a Smashbox dance party. Yeah, I know. It's Nova, if you're not monetized, then you're not part of the partner program, which means you probably can't use it. That's my guess. You won't have access to it. You'll have to continue to use the Creative Commons music that everybody else uses. Yeah, or like Jomez and find someone like Starframe and, pay them and use them. That's pretty disc golf iconic. I mean, they were really good kind of falling into that. That's awesome for them. So, too bad, Nova. Too bad. Anyway, it's 10:43 here. I'm going to wrap up the show because my throat's starting to feel it. I've had to mute a few times to cough. It's just going around my family. My daughter's had it for like a week. She gave it to me. I was coughing last week or 2 weeks ago on the show, so maybe I kind of had a little bit of it, but I don't know. Hopefully we'll shake it here soon. But next week, Terry will be in the house, so we'll catch up on all his travels. Hopefully we can do that in the after show. We'll have, I hope, some news come out of the All Star event, and hopefully Gannon Burr will maybe make his announcement in the next week so that we've got some Smashbox news. Other than that, we'll catch up with good old T-Bear and figure out, what his deal is and how his trip overseas was, how I think he's staying in Bend for a week after this weekend. He might be staying in Bend. Going to do the All-Star. I don't know if he comes back and then goes back to Bend for the Vegas event or if he's going to Vegas. I don't know. I can't keep track of that guy. He might be going from Bend to Vegas. But either way, we'll catch up with Terry Miller next week and we'll do that. So, for just myself, Jonny V, and everybody that's on the board, once again, I want to say thank you to everyone that supports, to everyone on the board, everyone that does super chats, everyone that's a Patreon supporter, everyone that's on Skip Ace, anyone that follows Disc Golf Guy, all of our supporters. You're all special to us, and I mean that seriously from the bottom of my heart. I can't imagine doing this without some of the interactions and community that we've built here. It's one of the I hope it's the longest lasting thing that we end up doing, is just the community that we've built with Smashbox, and I happen to love it. So for myself and everybody else, this has been episode 442 of the Disc Golf Smashbox TV podcast. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.